have some fire in them, I think.
Definitely, and the Swiss pairing system definitely pairs up runners of similar skill. Oh, and we're off. So we'll see what we have in the first chest, and we'll see if either of our runners has been practicing since their last match here. Maybe we'll get a little bit of an execution edge for one side or the other. And a sword, so we're going to get 2 weapons here total right in the first 2 items. Can't use your sword in the rain state, as both as who42baker gives it a shot here. Checks the map while he's busy picking up those bushes. Looks like we got all light world crystals today.
That's definitely fun to do. It's good, could add for definitely interesting routing in the end. And if you saw Uncle's saying there, it says, "I'm leaving tomorrow, goodbye forever." So that's a somewhat serious omen for how this seed might go, and we'll see what Uncle gives you. And we got the hammer. We have sword and hammer to start off. What an exciting way to begin this seed.
Our runners will certainly be all set for offense as we head into the seed here. Both are going to be looking for the bomb drop, and both the hammer and the sword will be useful there. Hammer with a little bit of more power, sword with a little bit more range. Either way, they're going to help get those bombs.
And you saw they picked up that 300 ruby drop right away. Good. I always say leaving escape with at least 100 rupees, so you don't have to worry about bottle vendor once you get to Kakariko is definitely nice. But 300 makes it even more. It could have easy farming for Zora, maybe even the early Zora play.
Players will need about 800 to 900 rupees total in order to do everything in the game that requires rupees. So definitely getting a third of that up front is a very comforting fact. Not too much dropping from these guards so far. Both of our runners kind of poking at them as they go by, and you see the raw power of the hammer there on CursedAether's side, taking out that blue guard in one shot. Every time they kill an enemy that isn't guaranteed to drop a key, there's a 50-50 shot of them dropping a prize and advancing that prize pack, bringing them one step closer to possibly that bomb drop.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to keep going, trying to get the farm drop from either the guards or the rats later in the escape. But with that hammer, they got to be a little bit careful. That ball on chain guard's hitbox with that ball is definitely worrisome if they want to get too close, because the hitbox for the hammer is definitely small.
Lots of strategies open to them with that ball and chain guard. They can do the 2 hammer shots. They can do the 8 slashes or sword spins. They can do the 2 pot strat. Lots available. So it's going to see what our runners are comfortable with to get them through this.
And getting a full heart container, definitely something you like to see early on. I would like to see them before they get to Dark World to have at least 6 hearts, because stuff in the Dark World definitely could hurt.
We've got plenty of offense. Let's work on that defense now. And CursedAether definitely going to start with a pot here. who42baker just going to go in right with the hammer. And both of our runners take care of that ball and chain guard, no problem. And why not? Let's just load up on more offense. We got the Master Sword.
So Master Sword right away. You have to think, if they find the Moon Pearl, we might see early Aga if we don't get the glove or right away.
Now, is that what going through your mind as a runner? Are you going to be looking for that lamp as things go on and head there early, or do you think they're going to hold off on it as long as possible?
If it's me, I try to put Aga off as late as possible if I have to do it.
And I think that's the common strategy among runners in this tournament, but with both of these runners knowing that they're so evenly matched, maybe we'll see somebody take that gamble and head there early, skipping a couple of locations, maybe skipping Ice Rod Cave or skipping Agina or some other out-of-the-way location, going for that Aghanim play. But we'll have to see how the seed unfolds here as they head into the second half of Escape. Lots more enemies to kill, 4 bombs back in the sewers.
Knowing that they're 1 and 2, and they have already had a race and tied, and knowing what's on stake for this run, because 5 and 2 is going to most likely guarantee you a spot in that bracket, every little thing they decide has got to be in the back of their mind what's going on right now.
Both of our runners certainly are fighting for their tournament lives, and believe me, racing in front of a live audience with commentary, with a promoted stream that has so many viewers that are drawn in, and in front of such a large and awesome community, it can add that extra little bit of pressure, and it is an extra skill to be able to route, to be able to execute, and to be able to perform in front of a crowd. So definitely shout outs to these runners, and if you're looking to see more of them, definitely give them a follow. We'll post those links a little bit early here because we're gonna have a great matchup tonight, and get those follows in while you can. Doesn't cost you anything, you might as well. Still no bombs on either side. We do have the map though, so we got all 4 items that are left. All possibly will drop something useful.
CursedAether opted just going 1 rat there. Baker tried to get 1 more rat in that room to see if it dropped, so that 1 extra rat could come into play for that bomb drop.
So not getting a bomb here isn't too much of a detriment. The 3 chests can be reached pretty quickly from the sanctuary with the glove. Now the problem is if the only glove available to our runners is in one of those 3 chests back there.
So with all that offense and them trying to farm bombs, we're still looking at a 6-minute escape, which is generally the time you'd like to go for. So way good for these runners. And of course, Baker gets the bomb drop after he leaves the room.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure he can go back at that point. I know he can't once he goes into the sanctuary. It looks like he's not even going to try it. But that 1 bomb will be useful for him coming up here in the Kakariko village. And another full heart container. So getting close to that target of 6 hearts for the Dark World that you were talking about earlier. Full heart containers are always welcome early, kind of like money. Later in the game, our runners won't be as happy, but right now they'll definitely take them.
So it looks like Ether's going to go for those standard route, gets the pull of the trees. You can probably catch the bush crab and probably see what's on Lumberjack Cave here.
Bush crab giving out 5 rupees. CursedAether doesn't have time for that. And who42baker, he's just going right into Kakariko. So trying to save off that extra 30 seconds, 20 seconds of skipping those checks, the Lost Woods check and the Lumberjack check, the tree poles and the bush crabs.
Baker also contemplating whether going into blind side is good, and then the finally decides to go down. He's got the 1 bomb. He can at least bomb this 1 wall, and hopefully gets bombs in one of these 4 other chests here.
With 321 rupees in his possession so far, as CursedAether actually picks up another full heart in the mushroom spot. But with so much money, he can afford to go buy bombs. The other option, of course, would be to go into the southwest of Kakariko. There's a bombable hut there that'll have 4 bombs that replenish every time you walk in and out, giving you a source of bomb farming. Definitely faster to buy those bombs, but again, with those... oops, we get an oops message across the screen. But with those bombs being so expensive, that you don't really want to give away, your money early. You want to save that for when it's necessary. But thankfully, they have enough that they can, they get a little money to play around with here.
Baker's getting the gamble, hoping that a bomb is now in the well. Meanwhile, Ether's going to go check the bar, and then if no bombs are there, he's going to go buy them himself.
And we do have that lamp, so Aga is certainly something that is available as who42baker picks up the Tempered Sword.
What is this seed going at here? We got now 2 items giving Tempered Sword damage. Now you have to worry about hammer strats here with Tempered Sword. It's only 8 minutes into the seed.
Are you from Boston? You get like this R dropping thing going on.
Straight up New York action. I'm from Long Island, my friend.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Don't be so hard on yourself. So who42baker picks up his lamp as well. I gotta imagine both of these runners are thinking, oh god, Moon Pearl on Pyramid. Oh god, Moon Pearl on Pyramid.
It's got to be in the back of their mind. Obviously, it's a little early. They've got some southern checks they can do, but thinking that Aga might be the play, especially with all 3 being crystals in the light world, it's got to be something in the back of their mind.
So a lot of items here in Kakariko. We're going to take our runners a couple more minutes to finish this off, but then they're going to head off and they're going to start having, decisions. Do they go to South Shore first? Do they go to the Eastern Palace area, knowing they'll have to come back for when they eventually get the bow? You can see Baker right now jumping in and get that extra item that he missed in the well there. So most runners generally decide to go, I found, to the South Shore, trying to avoid that double dip in the Eastern area. But occasionally those 3 items in the back of Shrahazel's hut, and we have the Moon Pearl there in the back of the well. So good on Baker for going back to check. So we're just a glove or an Aghanim away from those Dark World dungeons.
This is quite interesting. I really want to see what the runners do. If I was doing this, I might just take the gamble on Aga and maybe see what's going on, because obviously we're a bow away from actually completing pod. Only being 6 hearts in is definitely something you have to worry about being green mail, but that might be a play, especially on these runners' caliber, and knowing where their tournament lies might be interesting for them.
Baker going on an unconventional walk through the forest here as CursedAether finishes up the south. Nothing really good in the library that I saw. Did you happen to catch it?
I unfortunately missed it, so I didn't see it either.
Pile of money at the race game. Now, it's an interesting point. With the Moon Pearl, they are able to sequence break to Zora. That 300 rupees would put them more than enough over that 500 rupee mark to pay the toll for the Fishman. CursedAether decides it's not worth the time, though. There will be more money later, and heads to the South Shore. Meanwhile, Baker going to start at the house, too. I imagine he'll go either south or east here. We'll find out if our routing will diverge already.
Now, I've been seeing a few... Sorry. I've been seeing a few runners take the early Agana play. I don't know, the mind around it. Maybe you're not going to get there soon, but it'll be interesting to see if one of these runners do make the early Agana play at this point.
If you're going to win a 1v1 race and you're going to get ahead in this tournament, you have to do something different from your opponent. You have to differentiate yourself somehow. And sometimes that's going to Desert Palace and going to those one-off, out-of-the-way locations early. And you just got to hope that your opponent won't check there for a very long time, if at all. So CursedAether did snub at the 300 in the race game, but he'll take those 50, even though they're kind of soggy there, as he heads towards the mini Moldorm cave. So no Agena check for CursedAether. We'll see what... No, Baker doesn't want any part of that either.
It's nothing wrong with doing the conventional route, and with sword beams or even just tempered sword in this room, we can make quick work out of the Moldorms, and we'll see what items is in the back here.
Yeah, even though this is definitely the highest density of items that our runners have available to them right now, and density and efficiency is so important in Randomizer. You don't want to be avoiding these double dips. You want to get the most items per minute, if you will, to get you closer towards that desirable go mode. Question chat, why did they both reject the 8 bomb drop? The answer is I don't know, but it's bothering me too. So you're not left out there. I'd be picking those right up. Especially because they got at least 1 bomb capacity upgrade earlier. Man, I want those early bombs.
Absolutely, and you saw Ether think about it, head back there, and then decided to leave it alone. So he thought about it for the time being, but only Kana Burna in that cave there, and they're both making the Ice Rod cave check. Maybe they will come down here and do that fake flipper. He's only 70 rupees away from CursedAether to get that Zora.
He leaves the 20 on the ground too. Man, does he know he's allowed to pick up those prizes that fall on the ground?
Maybe he thought picking up prizes, and they get silvers. Good play on their part. The minute they get bow, they'll be able to have some quick kills on these bosses. But maybe Aether thought, that's what kept them from winning the last time, picking up prizes from just regular enemies.
It could be. It's hard to argue with a 2-second time save would have been the difference between a win and a loss here. So saving those 2 seconds wherever you can, not a terrible thing, and definitely on the front of both of these runners' mind. Looks like Baker's going to go and do that fake flipper you were mentioning earlier. A couple of items available to him, not quite enough to go to Zora yet. But meanwhile, Aether is going to go to the Eastern Palace area to pick up these 3 chests in the back of Shrhushala's hut. And Baker, first try with the fake flippers. Even a little bit of water pumping there. Very good.
I personally like to make sure I get it on the first try by just using a bomb strat. If you didn't know, you're setting a bomb there and you get pushed over to the edge of the screen, it will set you up on the perfect pixel.
And you know what? Tempered Sword's not enough for me. Let's go with the Butter Sword.
Less than 15 minutes into the seed, and we have all 4 sword upgrades. This seed wants these runners to finish fast. They want these runners to do it as fast as possible to see them go on in this tournament.
So Baker gonna try to fake flipper back, gonna hit the right pixel and kind of jump downwards in order to get that screen transition on the same frame. Doesn't quite get it, doesn't want to waste too much time in it as Aether dips into Eastern Palace.
He was a couple pixels just north of it. If you go to the bottom and just tap up, because you get 2 pixels while heading up, I believe you get on the perfect pixel in that frame.
It's just one of those things that, like many tricks in this game, it's not too difficult, just requires practice. And there are a lot of these glitches to practice, so it's certainly something that comes with time.
Meanwhile, CursedAether making his way through Eastern here. It is a crystal, so they'll have to come back if they don't find the bow in here. But did find early big key, which is nice to see before, so you don't have to go to the regular big key room if you find both items.
And both of our runners checking in with Shrhushla to see what the green pendant is. Baker not too pleased with the result. Well, I guess he really wanted to go to Turtle Rock there. So we have a Turtle Rock green pendant that may or may not be optional.
But you know, it seems with version 29 that a lot of items needed is somewhere in a pendant dungeon. So it could be that early Turtle Rock play that will give him that item. And certainly the bow could be in Turtle Rock.
It has certainly been there before, and the developers did a great job with V29 as far as evening everything out, so giving everything an equal chance, allowing for gambles to be a bit more exciting, allowing for efficiency to really come into play during these races, letting our runners show off his skill while still maintaining that element of luck that we all love in Randomizer. And if you don't like the luck, I have a great NMG tournament to recommend for you. Although there's still a fair bit of luck in there. So no darkroom navigation for either our runners today with that early lamp going through these Eastern Palace and dark rooms with ease.
Absolutely. Finding an early lamp is definitely reassuring. I'm sure most of the runners in the tournament can do dark rooms. Personally, I tried doing Dark Mire, couldn't do it myself, and that's what cost me one of my races. So definitely finding the lamp early is something probably comforting to these runners.
So we got nothing doing here in Eastern Palace. So do you think it's the Agena play or the Aghanim play now?
Let's see. In logic, it's definitely got to be Agena, because they can obviously fake flipper if they want, but that would be out of logic. If they find the glove, obviously they get Dark World access, but aside from that...
Well, CursedAether is going to go right to Aghanim, so that's the decision on the right side of your internet. After who42baker finishes out with the Eastern Palace, he'll have the same decision to make, and I would expect him to do the same.
Aga's got to be the play here because it's only that one off location down to Agena that's probably in the back of their mind. So getting Aga in there, knowing that they can dip into Pod, which has at least 5 items if it's not bow locked, to go look and peruse.
Now we have people pointing out in chat, neither of our runners did the back of escape. So there's 3 chests, none of which have the map. So it has 3 items in a very quick check in the back of Escape, just sitting there. Unfortunately, it would require the gloves to get there quickly, and otherwise it's going to be about a 2-minute journey to go back there. So we don't know yet if Aghanim is required.
Absolutely, but in your mind, do you take the 2 minutes to go in the back of Escape, or do you take the 4 minutes or so to go to Aga and at least get Dark World access and have a portal available to you? I like this play by them. I think I would do it myself.
Well, I think I'm going to disagree with you here, and I would have done the opposite. I want that the avoid up Aga's tower as much as possible when it's efficient, and I would be very interested in those back 3 chests. Well, we're gonna have Baker to see what he does here.
Especially with Butter Sword, it's gonna make quick kills of all the enemies going up Aga's tower. So that's my personal preference. Obviously, going into the back, which Baker is making that back play. So this is the first divergence the runners are gonna make here.
20 minutes in, and we have significant divergence, and this could be a very big play with implications at the end game. Now, the back of Escape is something where runners are usually going to pick up that bomb. So is this a case where Aether forgot, or is this a conscious gamble? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, say this is a conscious gamble. But we will certainly find out here as Baker heads through the last couple of rooms before reaching those last 3 chests in the sewers. And of course, there was a third option, going out of your way to go to Zora. There's 4 items over there that they do have. Well, they have access to 3 items over there right now.
They have, access, but only by technically breaking the logic, because they do not have the flippers. So both runners following the logic at the very least, and not doing the logic break.
Sometimes those logic breaks can lead to a skipped Aga. For example, if we got flippers on Pyramid and a glove at Zora, I mean, that's skipping Aga right there.
Absolutely, and it looked like it was just some rupees in a heart container in the back of Escape. So CursedAether seems like he makes the right play here by doing Aga.
Definitely going to pick up some time there, especially when they find the gloves. So Baker, realizing the bad news, going to go up. Not even going to go check Agina at this point. And not even any extra items to show it, but peace of mind that he won't have to go back there again. Aether's getting a couple of blue balls on the right side. Now these Aghanim, when you're watching the NMG tournament and you have 2 runners, they're both going to have to do Aghanim at different points during the game. Those NMG runs will have separate RNG for Aghanim, so it's a variation of who gets more blue balls will gain or lose a couple of seconds. In the randomizer, though, that randomization has been normalized, so both of our runners are guaranteed to have the same patterns for Aghanim, making it a little bit more fair and putting emphasis a little bit more on skill. It's odd to see something unrandomized and something called randomizer, but in a race scenario, it does make the most sense. And CursedAether, defeating Aghanim, has the Dark World access.
And we'll get our first look and see what's on Pyramid Ledge here and see if it's a progression item. It's just a big 20, which is the most popularized item in the game, and choosing to forego it even though he's under the Zora cap right now.
Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to that Palace of Darkness. Or we could go to Hype Cave. So we got Palace of Darkness is actually a pendant today. So not necessarily needed. Also has access with that hammer to much of the Dark World, including Hype Cave, which is a fairly high dense item location right now. 5 total chests there. And you can go back to all the way to the digging game, check out Stumpy. And so we have quite a few options.
Which CursedAether, it looks like he is making that play. It definitely makes sense, being that pod is a pendant. But pendant pod always scares me. I feel like since pendant pod is an early play for most of the time, that something's hiding in there.
It looks like Skull Woods was our last pendant. So we get a bee in a bottle. That could possibly be a progression item. We got some more defense. So nothing too exciting yet. We might have that bottle turned into the sick kid for some kind of progression. But right now we're going to go west. And Baker going into the Aghanim fight in the cutscene right now.
Absolutely, and Aether's gonna make his way over to Haunted Grove over here, and then make his way to Digging Game. Obviously, if he doesn't find both glove upgrades in each location, he won't make his way to Kakariko, and he have to save and quit and work his way back to Pod.
Save and quit, another important distinction between the NMG races and the randomizer. With NMG, you are not allowed to save and quit, and this is just for strategy. This was chosen by the community, I believe. Whereas in randomizer, CursedAether doesn't have the mirror right now. Would be stuck in the dark world otherwise. So we don't want our players getting locked. We want to see them race and finish this seed. So we're going to let them save and quit here.
And we'll see how many digs it takes to get to the item they need here.
Can be anywhere between 1 and 30 digs. Will be the same for both players. Another example of that randomizer logic being normalized across seeds. And just a couple of bombs, so CursedAether is out of here with nothing to show for it besides the bottle.
So he either gonna go to, we'll see where he goes here. He's gonna make the pod play, make that pod dip, and or fake flipper up to Zora.
The pod dip is definitely higher density, assuming there's a small key in that first chest. With no small key, not going to be able to do much. Now, with that bottle, he does have the ability to do the newly found bottle glitch. Newly found being a month ago, but on a game that's been out for 27 years, that's still pretty new. There is a shop just south of here and just north of here that he has access to. He could go pick up a red potion to get that bottle glitch, guaranteeing him access to more of Palace of Darkness, but he's just going to go straight in from pod, it looks like.
And Baker making his way over here. Looks like he's going to make the pod play along with Aether here, but also showed us how hard these enemies hit while in the Dark World. That little, I don't know the name of it, but I just call him a chomper, hits hard. 3 hearts with green mail in the Dark World.
Oh, I like calling them chompers too. That's a good name for things. Well, he'll be very pleased to find his blue mail in here. Unfortunately, there's nothing else really of value for him, as CursedAether scores Kiki the Monkey all the way up. Dips below that 500 rupee mark for Zora later on in the game. But I'm sure he'll be able to get back there pretty quick.
And that bee in the bottle is definitely interesting. They're going to have to make that Skull Woods play. And oddly enough, the bee is Mothula is the only boss in the game that a bee can damage.
So that all-important first item in Palace of Darkness is indeed a key. So we will have more progression here for CursedAether, hopefully.
And with this extended play, we see the 5 and 6 crystals are swamp and ice. So Fat Fairy a little ways away in logic.
Baker being a little bit careful, just down to 2 hearts now, trying to pick up a fairy drop on these bushes. Doesn't get one. Going to continue carefully along this way. Meanwhile, Aether going to start to dip into some of those Palace of Darkness chests. A lot of the chests at the beginning will contain keys, but this one contains a glove. So we now have a lot more access to the world than we had a minute ago. So Palace of Darkness is definitely the play here in terms of progression.
And CursedAether just realized he did not have a key to open that door, so he's going to fall down and see how much more he can get in pod here. But now that we know, pendant pod is the play. Like I said, I'm always scared of pendant pod. It feels like an item's always there.
And the gloves are certainly a mandatory item. Looks like he's going to choose to continue despite having the ability to save and quit and go to the rest. There are 5 items total in pod that are possible to get. They're, of course, going to be locked out of the boss item without the bow, and they're going to be locked out of that right side of pod without the bow as well, which contains 2 more chests. So still a possibility for a lot of items here.
And I like this play by CursedAether. He's got that one key. He's choosing to go in the back where he can get more items. I like to see these head-up runs by runners because some runners might just see that key. Is like, okay, I can go and fall down and get the vanilla big key. But knowing more items in the back, take that key, see what's there.
Takes a spill off the bridge. Going to have to go back through to reset the bridge. Meanwhile, Baker going to go west. He's going to go check out Agina.
And
we get another one of those pod items, a piece of heart.
And this is the plays we're talking, like, Baker's taking a risk here, seeing what's that one-off play in Baker. He's in Agina. He's also going to see what's on the ledge, most likely, but I like this gutsy move by him.
Certainly not the most dense area for him right now, but he might be feeling a little apprehensive about going to the Eastern Palace area for the second time, even though it is in the Dark World this time. So he picked up the map in the Harmless Hellway there, and just 20 rupees that Agina was hiding in the back of his cave. So unfortunately, that big key chest is going to contain something, and this stuff that is in the Dark Maze is out of logic right now without the bow. There will be no keys in the Dark Maze, because it turns out that leads to all kinds of problems. And no big keys, so can't open that big chest. Gonna head out and put those newfound gloves to use.
Meanwhile, it looks like Baker is going to make that fake flipper play right now. Going to see what's up on Zora and Waterfall of Wishing.
And looks like Aether just had it dawn on him that it is time to do the back of escape. Don't want to forget about those 3 quick chests here. Especially knowing that, not knowing, but believing that your opponent already picked them up. Getting that all-important bomb drop in escape. Baker, circle in the drain, avoiding those fireballs. Get in the hole. Come on. Here we go. There it is.
Yeah, that whirlpool can be elusive, and unfortunately dipsing back in. Hopefully he can get there easily now.
He can do it better than that. He just wants to show off now. And we're back in for a second time. Let's try to keep it going west here. And we're out.
But with Aghanim down, he has to watch out. He got in fine, but there's 2 Zoras there now instead of just the one shooting fireballs at you.
So he gets the walk-on water glitch. The game checks for the Moon Pearl for some reason when transitioning from the underworld to the overworld. Still doesn't want to get hit here. It will send the game into a very bad glitch state, depending on where he gets hit. Meanwhile, we get that 6th kid check from earlier, and just a piece of heart.
Another bottle on Zora ledge, so we know we're not going to come back for that. So we're just going to see what Zora has here, and then save and quit, and he'll probably make his way over to Pod, which we know is the play for him.
Not a lot of other options. Meanwhile, Aether is going to go head up to the Dark World for the first time. Village of Outcasts definitely available to him, as well as a full clear of Thieves Town.
So King Zora only selling you a lot of his love. Very high price for 500 rupees, but getting a full heart container is always nice. Gives you a little extra defense in the long run.
And for the extra 2 seconds that it takes, it can definitely save you a lot of time in the long run here. So Aether going to head up north, go dip into Skull Woods without the fire rod, not going to be able to complete it. But still a possibility. 2 items here total.
Which I like this play. I always consider these first 4 sections in Skullwoods part of the overworld. You know, they're easy, fast to check, and maybe you can get both items and have to worry about the rest of the dungeon.
Baker pulling on a little-known statue there to get the tree pull. Or statue pull, I guess it is. Just some arrows for him. Doesn't really have anything to fire them out with, but they're good to have. Gonna farm enemies for a little bit. He's at 76 rupees right now. Doesn't have enough to pay off the monkey. So if he wants to go to pot, he's gonna have to dig a little bit deeper. Gets that 20 right there. Where's he going? Go back east. There's a red 20. Oh, he's killing me. Gets fairies from the statue this time. I'm mad at him for leaving that 20 behind, though. Meanwhile, Aether going to head into Skull 2, get that one chest he has access to.
Yeah, these Gibdos in this room are definitely a pain, but at least with the Butter Sword, they're a fast kill and get them down easily.
The hook shot will not stun the Gibdos, but that blue boomerang sitting in the inventory certainly will. But with that Butter Sword, might as well just kill him.
It's definitely interesting. We have not seen what the stun price is. And for those who don't know, if you stun an enemy, whatever you kill is going to be even for both runners. Just like that randomized, half not randomized nonsense that we have in this game.
He's got the boomerang. Let's check the stun prize. No, we're just going to keep going east here. And I mean, this shows, you know, Baker, you know, this is a little bit of, you know, something where knowing the game, practicing, watching streams, learning, just absorbing the knowledge from the community can really help you run. Learning how stun prizes work, learning how those tree pulls work. Like if the tree pull had happened, or that statue pull that he had done had just happened to drop, 20 rupees, he would have been all set. He'd be gone and on the pod by now. So clearly put in some effort here. Clearly put in a bunch of effort to learn stuff like that. Just a little bit more would get him over to that 100 rupee mark. And yeah. Aether, meanwhile, is making progress. So we're going to see what's in the C-shaped house and the rest of these free chests here in the Village of Outcast. Baker going to go and farm somewhere a little bit more reliable.
He does need 110. Now, I'm not sure if I remember if he did get that 50 rupees in the dam, the watered rupees. I'm not sure if he picked that up. I know one of our runners did not pick it up, and I can't remember if it was him or not.
It certainly was an Aether picking up the flute from the chess game. So definitely Death Mountain doubly open now between the gloves plus the lamp or the flute. But more importantly, it will give access to the mire area once paired with those Titan's mitts. And Baker has a couple of options for farming rupees here. He can go into the back of Blind's house. There's going to be 30 rupees a pop every time you come in here. He has the Houlihan room available to him. He could go east of the sanctuary and jump in the water a couple of times. It looks kind of goofy, but it gets you... how many rupees is that? It's like 9 times 5 times 5. So whatever that is, gets you that many rupees. I think it's like 240 or something.
It's 255 for Houlihan, I believe.
255. That's a good number.
Meanwhile, CursedAether picked up the fire rod before heading into Thieves Town.
That is fantastic. And the hook shot, too, inside of Thieves Town. So all kinds of progression over here. Baker's going to move his butt over to that Palace of Darkness area so he can get caught up here.
Aether probably wished that he found the fire rod before dipping down into Skull Woods, because now Skull Woods is completable. They have to make his way back there eventually. And with, I think that's 9 hearts he has, is definitely something that's a cushion for Mothula.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be sending that fire rod back with complaints anytime soon. But it definitely would have made it more efficient if he had it going into Skull Woods.
And Baker having exactly 110 rubies, he's going to have to watch his movement with Kiki so Kiki doesn't get scared and run away, so he can open up pod for him.
So we have 5 hearts left for CursedAether. Going to pick up that heart to make it 6 now Thieves Town is not a forgiving place. There's a lot of things that will do more damage than just that one heart here. With the butter sword, obviously able to cleave a lot of those down easily. Meanwhile, who42baker got to be really careful here. If he gets hit, he's going to owe the monkey another 10 rubies and will not be able to pay. Delivers the monkey safely to the front of the entrance. As Aether starts in the Hellway. This one not as harmless as the last one he was in.
No, I mean, I like that heart grab from Aether in that last room. Personally, I like to leave that just before blind, knowing that the basement, there's at least 4 hearts you could pick up between the horsemen, I don't know what their real names are, or the pots, just in case you want to have full hearts or as much hearts as you can, but you can't hurt them because definitely Thieves Town could be scary with these enemies, especially these freaking crickets. They do more damage than you think.
They'll do a full heart of damage through that blue mail. And those horsemen, I call them chompers.
We'll just call all enemies we don't know chompers. It sounds good to me.
Yeah, it sounds great. Nice and easy to follow. I believe they're called Zazex. Or something along those lines. It begins with the Z anyway. Horsemen, though. Everybody knows what you're talking about when you say horsemen. So CursedAether with a bit of a lead here, having those extra progression items, having already gotten those gloves. Seed's kind of blocked on these gloves right now. And Aether's going to quickly gain a crystal lead, too, after finishing Thieves Town. That blue cane in the inventory should make it pretty easy to fight with blind. Butter sword, of course, not something blind cares about. Going to take 9 shots either way. But that... ooh, we get a mushroom in the back of the maiden's cell.
If we find the cane, it could set up a nice fake powder glitch for these runners. Generally, I like to hold on to the mushroom as soon as possible, just in case I want to keep that glitch in the back of my hand. But perfectly logical, it is legal in this tournament. You could save and quit before putting that mushroom in to see what it gives you, if you want to hold on to it. Otherwise, you could just reset and hold that mushroom on for later.
And fake powder is a very useful trick to know. Our runners will need the red cane to complete Misery Mire, so they'll have that going into Ganon's Tower. And certainly just before Moldorm 2, powdering those 2 anti-fairies, or that anti-fairy and that bunny beam, just before Moldorm 2 can really be comforting in terms of knowing that you won't have to reclimb that tower after an Aga 2 fight.
So CursedAether is setting up his blind fight, getting off script a little bit. You can blind is the only boss in the game that has exactly 9 hit points, and doesn't matter which item you use, but if you hit him 9 times, he will go down.
And conserving magic still has some left over. Down goes blind. 3 bombs up in the air and a crystal up in the air, more importantly.
Oh no, nice fight by CursedAether there. Has got the 1 crystal, and we'll probably see him make his south play to... He did Digging Game, so I don't know where he'll go after this, actually. Maybe make his way up to Death Mountain.
Certainly a high density of items over there in Paradox Cave and the east side of Death Mountain in general. Also has access to Tower of Hera. Also can finish Skull Woods if he wants.
Looks like he thought of it, but realized he didn't have the Titan's Myth, have to make the long way around, so he's going to make his way up to Death Mountain.
Now, we are 43 minutes in. These matches generally last somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. Now, in either of these runners' shoes, are you feeling ahead or behind at this point?
I think Baker making the gambles that he did, going to Agena, viewing the escape sequence, going in there, seeing that they didn't pan out, might feel a little behind right now. But other than that, it's still a little early to say who's really got the lead or not, because this seed can lead them in any direction.
Hey, they're going to turn on that flute. We'll see if he puts it to good use afterwards. Can turn in the mushroom pretty quickly after that. Can also head up to Death Mountain, rescue the old man, get a bunch of items on the east side via that hook shot. And even go fight the big bug Moldorm. Is Moldorm a bug? Is he a snake? Is he a worm? Or is he just a Moldorm?
I always pictured him as a caterpillar, so I would say he's in the bug category.
In the bug category, okay. So if I say the big bug, is that like, will everybody think just Moldorm? Or will people be like, no, that's Mothula. Mothula's the big bug. Let's get a poll going in chat.
Yes,
Which
chat.
boss is the big bug? Most of the bosses are eyeballs. Maybe I'll just say like the googly eye boss. Because I mean there are a lot of eye-based bosses. But Moldorms get the most googly eyes.
Yeah, I tried to put these bosses in like mental logic at one point. There's a lot of eyes, and if you think about Trinex has 3 heads with no eyes, and then you have Helmasaur, who technically has a mask but no eyes. So I think that every single boss in this game is technically one huge boss just separated into parts.
So Baker, checking out a couple of items that he hasn't checked in the early game, including the race game, the library, and the lumberjack item. Doesn't see anything useful among them. Sees those 300 rubies in race game. I wonder if he's thinking, oh, I should have headed here a little sooner. Either way, CursedAether, meanwhile, gonna rescue the old man and then head up to the top of Death Mountain. Just a full heart container on the top of Spectacle Rock. Spectacle Rock named because it looks like a pair of spectacles. We're not very creative here in naming things in like the past community.
And a shield inside Spectacle Rock. We won't see them pick that up. You know, shields are a nice item to have, but not a necessity.
And getting that Dark World portal, this has got to be a Spike Cave check. There's no other reason to do that. Doesn't have the mirror to get out of here, so this is going to be a terminal place for CursedAether. And with a heart and a half left, pulls out that blue cane. Meanwhile, who42baker gonna go into Village of Outcasts. Thieves Town is pretty attractive, but we get our first medallion on the right side of your internet.
With Quake, and definitely, eventually, since they have the flute in hand, we'll be able to see what Meyer has. And that's going to, once they get the Titans bits, it's definitely going to be good. But now, Aether's going to make his way, go right side, and see what the right side has for us here.
Making our way around some death rocks and some dead rocks and some cabbages.
I would have to imagine, logically, some sort of progression item has to be on this side of the mountain.
I mean, we still have, I believe, one item in Skull Woods. We still have Moldorm to go fight. So we have a little bit of options, and CursedAether certainly hasn't checked Agina, so maybe he's got that in the back of his mind as well. Zora still in logic for CursedAether. Don't need flippers for that. But with everything that we know as commentators and as spectators, we know something's going to be up here, and CursedAether finds the mirror.
That definitely is a nice item to have, especially, but they already dipped in pod, which is definitely the most useful item, having the mirror. But still, nonetheless, having the mirror makes for easy routing at the end. And they find the next medallion, which is Ether, making the medallions checked a lot easier, 2/3 rather than 1/3.
Absolutely. You still want that information as far as what are the requirements to open up Turtle Rock, what are the requirements to open up Misery Mire. But having all 3 in your inventory would certainly make that check unnecessary and a lot easier on our runners' minds.
CursedAether trying to set up that bomb jump with just a pixel too short to the left, and we'll just make his way around.
I mean, sometimes it's just not going to happen. You're just not feeling it. Your controller's acting a little weird, maybe a little sticky, maybe a little worn out, and you're just not feeling it. You got to do what's best for you in a tournament situation. And CursedAether electing not to do that bomb jump and just go around the longer way.
And we'll see if Baker here decides to make a bumper cave check, which looks like he is. We did not get to see this on CursedAether's side, so we'll see what's up here for him.
We get an ice rod, so that's very interesting. We know that the ice rod is only going to be used to go through Turtle Rock and fight Trinex. There's nothing else in the game it can unlock. So it will unlock the Trinex item, it will unlock the Shahasal item because a green pendant is at Turtle Rock, and it will unlock the pedestal. So only 3 item locations in this entire game are locked by that magic cape and by that ice rod now. So we'll see if they come back for it. Odds aren't too high. I wouldn't get your hopes up, but it certainly is a possibility. And it's one that our runners are gonna hope is not happening.
Absolutely, and this having that in the back of Baker's mind, it's got to be gnawing at him the entire time. You know, knowing that that item is available once they find the cape, of course, but still, I wouldn't want to have that knowledge.
And CursedAether are going to go through this tile room. Going to put a bomb there on that crystal switch, try to get a little bit of invincibility frames here from these tiles. Doesn't quite land on it, was a little bit too far to the right there. So you're going to have to sort off these tiles. It's not too bad, but it's a good time if you are able to get that iframe glitch there to take kind of a mental break and recover yourself as Baker picks up his flute in the chest game.
Absolutely. Could have choose to set up a death warp even with the mirror in hand just to get more hearts, but chooses to just muscle on, and we'll see where it goes here in Tower Hera.
So we already got a piece of heart in the downstairs. We'll see what we get upstairs as Baker is kind of following in Aether's footsteps right now. Grabs his hookshot as he makes his way through Thieves Town. So I'm still giving that lead edge to Aether. There's not too much that Baker's done different other than taking a little bit extra time to do it. But as these runners have shown, they have the ability to catch up to one another.
Absolutely, but 51 minutes in, only 1 crystal down. Baker will soon get his crystal in Thieves Town. It's definitely a lot of game left here for these 2 runners.
A little bunny owl. It's adorable. So we got I don't know, some kind of owl on the left. I don't know if it's like a specific owl or anything. It's very adorable though. So shout outs to whoever made that. And we got I believe that's the dark girl on the right side. So these sprites, obviously not sprites that come with the base game Link to the Past. These were done by the community, and they did an absolutely fantastic job with them. Really gives that extra flavor of personality and replayability to this game that it didn't even know it was lacking.
Absolutely. One of these days, I'll definitely try a different sprite, but I'm always partial to the regular Link. That's just who I am. But I would like to try one of these days a different sprite, get used to its running, see where the bomb jumps land on each of them, you know, the whole 9.
So Moldorm falls down on the right side of your internet, so we got 2 crystals over for CursedAether as Baker continues his quest for the first one. Gonna go back now for that spiral cave. Don't want to put that dead rock. That dead rock's getting in the way. All right, we're by it. Could use Quake to kill it, but that would be totally egregious. And getting dead rock, but still enough to see that 5-bomb upgrade on Sky Island. Will not be mirroring for that later in the game.
This spiral cave without the boots is just horrible.
It's a little bit slow, but it results in the same number of items either way.
I just feel like you're on like a walk of shame without the boots in this room.
So at this point for CursedAether, there's nowhere really high dense to go anymore with a lot of high density items. So we're really kind of struggling, checking some of the faster one-off locations maybe. The witch is a good choice with that mushroom, but like you said, maybe wants to save the mushroom for later, for fake powder, both for the progression item and check in the back cave and for just general safety throughout the game. Agina is another option. Zora is actually in the logic. Quakefish is in the logic. None of these places are really fun to get to. Looks like Aether is going to do that Zora play, though. It's not a bad one. Even though there's only one item within the logic for him at this point, he will be able to get those extra couple of items. We'll see what's on this island here, which is crap, as we know, and nothing in the hobo either. But this will be a total check of 6 items when there's just one of them in logic. So this shows you how efficiency can come into play. Efficiency always at the forefront of these runners' mind. How can they get the most bang out for their time?
Absolutely, and while they make the play, having that mirror in hand, that adds a couple more locations into logic. We have Cave 45 down the south of Grove, and getting the reversed flipper CursedAether gets, so he can work his way down, and Graveyard Ledge, I believe.
Spooky Ledge, we call that one now. It's much more fun to say.
Spooky Ledge, I like that.
Yeah. It's great because it's got ghosts everywhere. Baker gonna take his shot at blind. Gets a little bit off script, but has 5 hearts remaining and just 1 head left. Dodging those fireballs with the greatest of ease. And gonna pull out that blue cane for safety. No sense in coming back. Gonna add a little bit of lag, but a little bit of guaranteed that that blind monster is going down. So we got 2 crystals on the right and 1 crystal on the left. So Baker with that fire rod, we could see him go back up into Skull Woods. That would certainly be a divergence. Or go up to the higher density play and go up to Death Mountain like Aether had decided.
Ooh, and he might be making the Skull Woods play.
And I agree with this. I like going to make that Skull Woods play. There is still 1 item in there hiding out, and there is a crystal hiding out as well. Oh no, there's not. There's a pendant. I don't like this play anymore. Let's go up to the mountain. So a pendant. I mean, this is a gamble. This could be something where he feels like he's behind, and that a gamble into fighting a pendant boss early, relatively early, 56 minutes in, could be something that gives him an edge.
It could be. He also might be thinking of maybe checking that chest before going to Mothula to see if that has the item before actually finishing a pendant dungeon.
Definitely a possibility. Well, we'll find out one way or another as Aether picks up a whole lot of nothing from the Zora area. And gonna start doing these one-off locations. Gonna start with Agina.
Skull Woods has got to be in the back of Aether's mind also. Knowing that he has the fire rod, he'll probably eventually make his way down here if he doesn't find an item.
And Baker looking to avoid that Mothula fight. Doesn't want to get mixed up with the big bug if he doesn't have to, especially it only being a pendant. We'll check this chest first. 5 bombs, so it doesn't have to go fight Mothula. There is nothing on Mothula now. And just gonna save and quit here.
Aether's got to have that mushroom in the back of his mind also now, thinking he's going to either go check the witch, which would be a quick check right here, just flute to 2, hand it in, and go see what's there.
He's got other ideas as he goes down to enter the Dark World portal. He does not have access to Swamp, so this has to be... I don't know what this is. Doesn't have a book.
It's probably Spooky Cave, as you like to call it.
Spooky Ledge is way up north. That's going to be a heck of a trip around if he wants to do that. Much faster ways of getting there. We'll see. He's going to Cave 45.
Cave 45 first.
And we got the loose goose over on the left side as Baker activates his flute. Going to use that to get the old man rescued up at the top of Death Mountain here in a moment. And south of Grove, what do we get today? just a piece of heart. So no progression there. Baker's going to go check that mushroom. So he's getting in this mushroom check before Aether is. Again, not the highest density play, but if you're feeling behind and you're looking for a gamble, this is a nice, quick one-off check. But today, it's just the bug net. So we are left with just Spooky Ledge for commentators' knowledge here, as far as knowing where our runners need to check. And it looks like CursedAether is aware of that, but could also be heading into Skull Woods at this point. So this seed, a little bit linear, a little bit, you know, kind of bottlenecking around these items. But we could see this open up with a Titan's Mitts coming up here.
So we're just about to hit an hour now. You got to be thinking, especially with only two crystals down, maybe gonna get a pendant here. Pendant's still alive. It could have a lot of items still available on the pedestal. My bad. I meant to say pedestal.
Could it? What could it have? Let's see. So we need a bow for go mode. Could it have the bow? No, couldn't have the bow. We don't need the ice rod. We know where the ice rod is.
It
could have bombos.
Could have bombos. It could have boots if Desert Palace is boots locked.
Yeah, could have boots.
It could have one of the no, never mind. It could have one of the fetch quests. It could have powder. It could have the book, shovel.
Oh man, you're mean. We still got a lot of things to check here. We're not worried about pedestal quite yet. So while CursedAether's looking around here, checking items that are not going to pay off, Baker's going to use this time to catch up a little, hopefully. Going to that Spike Cave check. Again, going to be a little disappointed, but has that blue potion to make sure he can get through here.
And CursedAether making his way down here is going to see this as a second item. We'll see if he decides to fight Mothula.
And we're just getting a save and quit out of here, so no Mothula today. What if Moldorm goes into a cocoon and then becomes Mothula? Oh, yeah, I just blew your mind.
That leads to my idea that all the bosses, they're generally one monster just separated into pieces.
It's terrifying. It's just different stages.
Oh, we're gonna get catfish check here.
Catfish and Spooky Ledge. That's all we got left. Although CursedAether needs to check that mushroom. Realizes it after throwing that big rock. Now you're gonna have to do a screen transition, but a Dark World port does count as a screen transition. So we'll see if he makes use of that. Nah, he doesn't. He's just gonna walk the regular way.
He knows he's got to make his way back there, so why waste the dark portal? Just get it done and over with.
Picks up that bug net though. It's a nice safety to have for both of our runners, and it's a pretty free pickup. Doesn't want to waste time getting that potion fill though. So Quakefish, this could certainly be it. And I got to think at this point, both of our runners are feeling a bit behind now, kind of struggling to find the next item location. Look at this skull go south of those rocks. That's cheating. He can't do that. Baker going to set up for the bomb jump here, save a little bit of time climbing back up to the top. Looks like he's got it all set up nicely as Aether offers a skull to the catfish. And we got the Titan's Mitts from the catfish, so that's the golden ticket to the rest of the world here.
That's perfect. Now, if I was Aether, where would you go? I think I would do Dark Death Mountain.
Nah, first place I go is Mire. We're going to check the Mire, see what medallion is required for Mire, get the 2 items in the shed. We have access to desert, so we'll know if it's boots locked or not. And if it's not, you can clear it out right now.
Very true.
So lots of hype at the catfish. And we have Ether as the entrance requirement for Misery Mire. Now, that being said, I don't think your play of Dark Death Mountain is bad. There's a high density of items up there. We have 4 in the Hookshot Cave, which they have access to. We got the bow in the shed. Excuse me, forget about my hypothetical plays. We got the bow. This seed just got blown wide open.
And there we go. We have 2 more places fully completable. Even though pods are pendant, well, we could do Eastern, get Armos Knights down. That's definitely going to end with the silvers in play. Going to make a lot of these enemies much easier for these 2 runners.
So I still think Dark Death Mountain is going to be high on Aether's list once he finishes with Desert and the surrounding area here. As there's still that information, what is the Turtle Rock medallion requirement? Even though you don't need it, you still want to have it known just in case. And those 6 items there between Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave, very appealing to get those last couple of go mode items.
Ether's going to take his dip into Desert, like this play. The question is, would you take a dip into Mire? I know you need the Cane of Samaria, but it's right there for your taking.
I would say no for this one, just because there's such a high density and some information available to you, and we have a non-boots lock desert, so CursedAether are going to be able to complete this dungeon right here, right now. So I would be going for the information and for the 6 items on Death Mountain. That being said, I don't think it's an unreasonable gamble. Misery Mire, famous for having progression items, does have only 2 items. About the same. Can have the vanilla cane, so it could be something where you take a gamble in there and it ends up being in there. We get the big key on the right side. One more item here on the right side of Desert. Piece of Heart. So that does it as far as items in Desert Palace, so no need to finish it right now. You're going to have to get back here for Mire. Aether, though, wants to get it out of the way. Cross those Land Molus off the list.
You might as well. You have silvers, you have Fire Rod. Land Molus is going to be a quick, easy kill.
So we can likely cross those boots off of our list of progression items that we're going to need for Go Mode. We just need that red cane, and we just need those flippers, and that's it. So suddenly, you know, instead of being those 6 items away, we're now just 2 items away from Go Mode.
And we get another oops on Baker's side there, taking a fall to Modorm.
Yeah, with those erratic patterns, Moldorm can be tricky for even the most experienced runners. Just going to take 2 slashes here from the Butter Sword, though. And Baker goes 1-on-1 with Moldorm. We'll see who gets the match point at Ganon Sour later in this game. So we will briefly have a tie on crystals here. It depends on where Baker goes as far as how quickly he can catch up here. I feel like he's made up a bunch of time, especially if he ends up going to Quakefish sooner rather than later. And that last Land Molus goes down with a silver arrow to the dome. Holds up the map and, more importantly, the crystal. So if you're a runner right now, I think you want to find that red cane before you find those flippers. Not finding those flippers first would mean you get that Go Mode Swamp Palace, that Go Mode Ice Palace, as both of those are logically locked behind the flippers right now. And it looks like Aether is going to take that dip into Mire you were talking about, so not going to be able to clear this dungeon out entirely, but we'll be able to get at least one of the 2 items buried inside.
Absolutely, and Mire being such a complicated dungeon, only having 2 items, definitely could be one that takes a little while if you want to dip. I mean, I like the gamble. I think I would similarly do this play since it's right here, but for only 2 items, the high density play is definitely on Dark Death Mountain.
Putting those sword beams to good use against these Wizrobes and Popes. Gonna get a 2-cycle here, it looks like. And Baker gonna head back into the Dark World here. So we still haven't checked Spooky Ledge at all. So that could still be holding something. He could check that on his way through. And it looks like he is going to head in that general area. Not sure if he can get across without flippers, though. So he's got to be going to Spooky Ledge.
Yep, that's definitely where he's going. The one-off location at Spooky Ledge. See if it hides something. I've definitely seen items there in this tournament. We'll see if it holds it today.
Hey, that's the first check we've got of the stun prize that you were mentioning earlier. It is a single bomb.
Well, the way this seed has been throwing bombs at these runners, I don't think so. And they've been skipping. They've had multiple 8-bomb drops and said, nah, it's not for me.
Yeah, I'm still mad about that. So we're getting a Spooky Ledge check from Baker here. Now, if this ends up being the flippers, like, this could still open up quite a bit. Because we have no idea if and when CursedAether will come back to check this. But we just have 3 bombs today.
Yep, and Fat Fairy's also locked behind those flippers because our 5-6 crystals are Swamp Palace and Ice Palace. So she's not going to be holding flippers for us at the very least.
Wow, I'm getting called out in chat for my bad call on the Moldorm fall, apparently. Man, they should give us some kind of test before they let us commentate. They shouldn't just let anybody on here. So we sit through that long cutscene, fall down the hole. We'll see what Meyer is holding. Magic powder. So there's a fetch quest item, a little bit of safety.
Arguably, probably one of the best safeties in the game. I'd rather have that than anything else, just to refill the hearts whenever you can. Like right there.
Putting it to good use right away. Lots of antifairies here in Misery Mire. And that powder can turn that frown upside down. I should have been a little quicker with that one. Yeah, it would have sounded better. That's all right. It's late here. It's like 1:14.
Yeah, late night for us.
Yeah, no, like so we're 1 hour and 12 minutes in. It's the end of a long week. This is a very exciting race. But all that being said, I'm going to start to get punchy here in about 15 minutes. So I apologize in advance. And we get the big key finally on the right side, so we get that big chest accessed. Still looking for that last item in Misery Mire, as Baker going to head to the east over to get those Titan's mitts finally.
Perfect for him. We'll be able to maybe catch up some ground here, but further progress him in the seed. Definitely the play he needs to do, so way to go, Baker.
And we get the flippers. So there was progression hiding out in Misery Mire. This gamble, I think we're pretty safe to say that it did pay off. We now have Ice Palace and Swamp Palace available to us. 3 items and 6 items respectively. Even though you don't want to go in there with your not in go mode, with the density in both of those dungeons, I got to see those as the play. We'll see if CursedAether agrees here. Baker choosing to throw the flower into the Quakefish. Gonna see if that helps curry favor, get maybe a better item drop. I think he's gonna be pretty happy with these gold gloves. And Aether going to take the Darkwood portal around Palace of Darkness, so pod not required. There are still some items hiding out in there. This would save a lot of time if the Red Cane ends up being on the right side of pod or even at Helmasaur King. This is certainly going to save some time, and in addition to that, you're going to need to come back to this area anyway to finish off those Armos Knights. So we'll see if he chooses to fight Helmasaur King or not, or if he's been counting his items, because I sure as hell haven't.
I haven't either. And it's definitely a play. Interesting gamble on his part. Personally, I'd probably either make the Dark Side Death Mountain play or even the Swamp play before I made Pendant Pod play. But knowing that Pendant Pod had an item before, it's got to be in the back of his mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. I go to Dark Death Mountain. That's still like high density up there. It's 6 items. Lets you maybe avoid a full clear Swamp and Ice Palace. So we're going to start with Eastern Palace first. Armos Knights gives us full health, full magic, possibly an item. Again, not good at counting. Not my strong suit.
No, I believe they got all 3 items. I think so. Now I'm second guessing myself, but like to play nonetheless. Quick kill will be done in probably a minute. I like to play.
Yeah, it turns out you're not intended to have the silver arrows at the first boss in the game. So, thankfully it works somehow. Great job by the original developers of this game for making sure that no matter what we do to it, it doesn't crash.
Meanwhile, Baker's in desert, gonna see it's not Boots Lock, and probably will get his 3rd crystal.
So the big question for him is he going to make that same play into Mire? On one hand, if he's going to follow in CursedAether's footsteps at this point, that doesn't look good for his odds of winning this match and advancing to that 2-2 important record. But at the same time, there are those slippers inside. I mean, this is still anybody's race. Like we could see that red cane, like you're talking about, on Dark Death Mountain, and we could see Baker head up there immediately after Desert, while CursedAether ends up full clearing pod, Swamp, and Ice, for example. And that could be all the time save that Baker needs to get right back in this race.
Yeah, we'll see where CursedAether goes after here. Choosing to take the portal back to the Dark World and making a double dip into Pod.
Double dip pendant dungeons, that's doesn't play well for the efficiency that we talked about earlier. Might be required, though. We certainly saw the gloves that led to the bow eventually. So logic could be mean today. No boots to bomb through that wall. We're going slow today. Gonna need those bombs. This is supposed to be a speed run. Boots make it go faster. So we get the silvers out on the left side. Baker's going to take care of these Landmo while Aether takes care of these mimics. 3 silver arrows for both sides. Not all of them connecting immediately.
Those sword
Both
beams.
of our runners. Go ahead.
I'll say those sword beams trolled Baker for a 1 Landmo kill there. 1 term Landmo kill. Had to wait for a second, but otherwise got a quick kill on Landmo.
So Aether going to head back. Still missed a couple of chests, including the vanilla, not the vanilla, just like the big chest, the big one. Trying to figure out how he's going to hit the switch. Lots of options available to him. Going to go with bombs, though. And Baker is going to make that same play into Misery Mire.
But if CursedAether knows his key logic, he did not check the vanilla big key location. He should know that there's going to be a regular key there, so he does not have to go.
And that's a time save that would be gained from studying the logic and really understanding it. Another one of those things where you're just going to pick it up, watching these races, listening to brilliant commentators, and playing the game and just kind of paying attention. And if everybody has any recommendations for which brilliant commentators to listen to, let me know, because I could certainly use some help here.
I take the recommendation myself.
So we are not going to fight the Helmosaur King today. Going to get right out of there. So I like that play. I like going into pod, checking those last couple of items. Unfortunately, just an arrow upgrade was the result. And still not going up to that Death Mountain.
No.
We're going to go to Swamp instead.
He's probably hoping he could save Death Mountain. Maybe not even do it. Just have to go up there to go right into Ganon's Tower. It's a gamble. Definitely something that I probably wouldn't do, but I like this Swamp gamble. It does have 6 items, even though it's a long clear, but it's one of the high density places that you can go.
Oh, it takes so long though. And this is somewhere where Baker could get right back in this if he chooses to go somewhere else. Whether it's overworld stuff, doing the Smith sequence, or whether it's Dark World Death Mountain, where it's Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave. He could be in go mode first.
Absolutely. Even if Baker just follows Ether, I believe he's only like a 5-6 minutes behind. So any play that he does will bring him much closer and make it a nice race in the end.
I don't know. Dark Death Mountain feels like much higher items per minute. I mean, it's 6 items on Dark Death Mountain, 6 items in Swamp. And sure, Swamp results in a crystal. But at the same time, I want to do Go Mode Swamp.
Absolutely, and at least it'll give you the knowledge for what medallion Turtle Rock is needed. You get the portal up there, making easy access to get back up to Ganon's Tower, but these runners has their own plan in mind, and we'll just follow and see what they do.
Well, we get the boots. So this was definitely the right call, because we ended up with the boots one way or another here. But Turtle Rock, not going to be something that our runners go into at this point. Both of them are going to end up with flippers, with Red Cane being that last go mode item. And not going to get very far in Turtle Rock without that Red Cane. So I'm not expecting that knowledge to be useful at all at this point.
Nope, because I was going to say with the boots could have been there if they needed to get it off the torts, but finding the boots makes that dead.
And Baker using that same powder on that same anti-fairy as Aether did, showing the importance of that safety as he goes back through to collect the rest of his items here in Misery Mire.
But oddly enough, when I was thinking about the seed imprint in the beginning, there was all red items. And what's trolling us? The Red Cane.
This is like very superstitious. There's a lot of superstitious people in the rando community. I can assure you, there is no VTorp conspiracy. Nobody's like, oh man, Red Cane's gonna troll people this seed. Ooh, we get another full heart, bringing us up to 13 on both sides now.
I honestly think it would be trolling, but I just thought, hey, maybe there's red items. It could be a red item that's something of interest. Just something I thought of. That's all.
So we get no left side from CursedAether. He's gonna go right to the boss. Poke the big eyeball with all the puffs.
This is the go mode technically section that you think about. They just go right to the boss. I like it. It is 2 items, making a gamble. But finding any of the dungeon items is going to make you have to go left side eventually, if you don't find the items that you need.
And just a shield and a map down at the second half so far. We still have the boss in the waterfall chest to take care of. Baker gonna flute away. Gonna go to pod. Somebody go to Dark Death Mountain, please. This is getting out of hand. And we get that second shield. So we know where all 3 shields are. That last one being inside Spectacle Rock Cave. Neither of our runners pick it up because shields don't do a whole lot here.
especially not needing to go to Laser Bridge now because Turtle Rock is gonna be officially dead for runners in LC, so nothing needed. But getting his shield is, like I said, a nice item to have, but not needed.
Now, if you're CursedAether and it happens that the boss here does not drop the red cane, do you go back inside or do you go elsewhere?
I would think that CursedAether finding those flippers, might think that he has an edge, thinking that maybe the runner didn't dip into Maya right away. But that being said, he could also feel that he might be behind. It's up to him. I personally probably would take the dip back in. I wouldn't want to have to worry at coming all the way back down here if an item is in the left side of Swamp.
It's certainly never going to be more efficient than it is now as he picks up that 14th heart. And he's going to head back inside. Doesn't want to leave those 2 items on the left side and the big chest to any chance.
Knowing that the cane is the last item these runners really need, if minus anything that's going to troll the runners to go into different locations, Pedestal would probably officially be dead.
Yeah, I think Pedestal's been dead for a bit. We don't need no Pedestal. This is still a very interesting seed and a very interesting race. I'm very happy I get to watch and commentate this.
Absolutely. You don't want to hope for an Aga and Pedestal seed at the same time. That's always something that's like gonna get in the back of your mind. I had to do both.
And 1 item away at 126 here, so still a relatively quick seed. Good pacing. A little bit linear. That's all right, though. Oh, we're setting up for a hammer jump here on the left side. who42baker knows he just has that big chest to check here. And the fastest path there does involve bomb jumping over there. Gets the setup, just needs to adjust his Y pixel, does so expertly, and picks up his 5 arrow capacity upgrade as a reward. And someone hasn't been studying their logic because he's going back in for that vanilla big key chest. No, he's going. No, he's going right to the boss, isn't he? Yeah, he's gonna go fight Helmasaur King.
Yeah.
Is there an item on Helma?
I don't know. I didn't count.
There must be. There's got to be. We'll see in a second here. He's gonna switch items to the hammer in a couple of screens here. Meanwhile, Aether falling down and check that first item on the left side, just a compass. I believe this one has to be a big key.
If Helmasaur has an item, this is the play that Baker would need.
Absolutely. So Aether's going to make his way back to the big chest as... Yeah, Aether's going to make his way back to the big chest as Baker shoots the Igor statue in the eye to reveal the secret stairs. And it is something red, and it is something big, but it's not the cane. Yeah, no, there's still an item here. He's got both the map and the compass. So there's still an item hanging out at Helmasaur King.
And Aether's gonna make the Ice Palace play, so he's gonna do the full clear of both Swamp and Ice Palace, which could lead to Fat Fairy as they are the 5-6 crystals, so they'll open up 2 more items.
Yeah, depending on where this red cane is, this is definitely anybody's race. And here we go with the Helmasaur King fight. So 17 shots with the hammer to the mask. And after that, it's just going to be 1 silver arrow or 2 butter sword slashes to take down the big cat. It is a weird looking cat. And does he have it? Does he have the last bit of progression that we need?
He does!
Oh my god, we got the red cane, so we got go mode at 129.32 for who42baker. He was behind this whole time and has now vaulted himself to a significant lead over CursedAether. And he's going to be able to go mode Swamp, go mode Ice, and finish off Meyer, and finish off Eastern, of course. So what a play!
Oh my god. And you have to imagine that Ether's not going to head back and do a triple dip into pod anytime soon. He's going to do Ice Palace. He's most likely going to make his way up to Dark Death Mountain and do all those checks before he makes it back into any pendant dungeon. What a way. Baker makes the play, and we'll see how this ends out.
Wow! This is a race. This is a race and a half right here. So CursedAether must be feeling pretty good with those boots, but he is going to have the boots while his opponent has the red cane and no boots most likely for Baker. With those silver arrows and that butter sword, those boots are going to be skipped most likely inside Swamp Palace.
Oh, absolutely. I think once Baker's done here, I would probably flute to Meyer, finish that off, then make my way to Swamp and Ice Palace after that, because those are the quicker dungeons to finish, and then make a way up to Ganon.
And while we have everybody in chat very excited for these runners, let's get them to follow these runners. These guys are putting on one heck of a show, and it's the second show this week that they put on. So give these guys a follow. They definitely deserve it. They can clearly shown they can put on quite the exhibition for everyone, and definitely follow them throughout their tournament life here. But somebody's going home. Somebody's not going to be eligible for the bracket stages one way or another after tonight.
Absolutely, they can join me in the 1 and 3 brackets here and just continue on for the fun of it.
And another fetch quest item for CursedAether. Just opening up that extra out-of-the-way location to check. Meanwhile, Armos Knights go down on the left side, so Baker going to start just pocketing those crystals. And you got to think it's going to be a long time before Helmosaur King goes down on the right side of your internet here.
Well, if we weren't awake before, we're definitely awake now.
So back to Meyer for Baker, and with those silver arrows, Vitreous is not going to be much of a challenge. I mean, we got all the offense we need, we got all the defense we need, we got all the items we need. Ship it. I keep looking over at the stairs and waiting for my wife to come down and say, "Would you be quiet?" But no, it looks like we're all set.
I know, I'm a short room away from my fiance as well, so I've been looking over my shoulder. Do you think that Baker now thinks he's in the lead because of that play? That's the question.
I have very rarely talked to a racer or I guess we call them runners here. I very rarely talked to a runner and heard them ever say like, "Oh yeah, I thought I was in the lead at this point." But with that double dip required for Pendant Palace of Darkness to go all the way to the boss, I mean, that was one heck of a gamble, and he very well may feel like he is sitting pretty right now. So going into that Misery Mire Dark Room, I'm going to put that cane to good use, weighing down that button to open the door. There's a lot of things that the Candace Mario does. It makes platforms, it makes blocks, you can put on buttons, it deals damage, it shoots lasers out that can hit switches and again deal damage. Like there's like 6 items all wrapped up in the red cane here.
You would think that the developer's like, we don't have a big enough screen to fit all these. Let's just put it into one item.
And we got another bee in a bottle for the right side on CursedAether screen. And CursedAether going to finish off the routing here in Ice Palace. No more items to get, so we're going to go right to the boss now.
He does have plenty of hearts and with the Butter Sword, but Cold Stare does has some strong hugs with that blue mail, so he's still got to watch out when doing this fight.
He does have bombos that he managed to pick up throughout the course of this dungeon, as both of our runners are going to enter their respective boss fights at the same time. So bombos will help conserve magic with that fire rod doing just as much as the Butter Sword in this fight. Except that rain should bring Aether some comfort here. And before the shell is even off, Vitreous is exploding on the left side, giving up that key and that crystal.
Beautiful zero cycle for Baker on that fight.
And we get a lot of eyeballs exploding on a lot of screens here, and a lot of keys and crystals being given up on both sides. So it's kind of nice to see some kind of sync here between our runners. And we're going to do the Go Mode Ice Palace next on the left side, followed by the Go Mode Swamp. No need to fake flipper or set up on that pixel anymore. We're going to pump our way up to the Great Fairy Island. And our runners will give each other a little bit of a high five. And CursedAether, unfortunately, not looking like he's heading to make that play on Helmasaur King. Lots of more efficient places to check at this point. It's going to be brutal. Going to do that Pyramid Fairy check.
Gotta do Premier Fairy. He opened up the shovel spot. He's gonna do a few more spots before he heads his way to Pop.
Sorry, I was yawning. It was quiet for a little bit there. Aether's going to take advantage of that Aghanim Warp that he opened up early in the game before he even had any gloves, in fact. And make a little trip shorter here. That guard freaking out. He's supposed to be in charge of guarding the palace. A guy with a bomb, giant bomb just appeared out of nowhere and started heading towards the castle door. So, obviously cause for concern among the royal guard. Question in chat, are any bomb jumps required to know? The answer is no. The bomb jumps are not required, but they certainly are allowed in the course of this race. Actually, now that I think about it, there's no chance. The Red King cannot be a Pyramid Fairy. Cold Stare gave up a key. And in the logic, when Cold Stare gives up a key, that means the only way to get through short of doing the bomb jump, so by the logic, would involve using that Cane of Samaria to stay on that button to weigh it down and open the door. So because of that, Red Cane on this particular seed was required to beat Ice Palace, and as such cannot be in the Pyramid Fairy, as Ice was one of those all-important Pyramid Fairy crystals.
Ether's got these boots lock locations he's gonna check. We just gotta wish that he goes down the pod, finish up Helmasaur.
And we'll be sending him as many mental vibes as we can to get him over to that big cat. But in the meantime, Baker's just going to pull further and further ahead. Baker pushing the block the wrong way. Doesn't realize he can use the cane here. Taking the opportunity to get a little bit more health from this fairy.
Opting to get more fairies, just for safety reasons.
Nah, he's just resetting the block. Doesn't have a key to go back down the regular way. Maybe he doesn't want to use magic. But there's 2 magic refills. He's gonna have full magic going into this fight here.
Oh, you know, because he didn't pick up Bombos in here.
No,
he needs a
because it's just, yeah, it's all go mode. People asking, you don't need, in chat, in the vanilla game, you don't need Cane to do Ice Palace, so how come in the randomizer you need it? You won't need it every time. You'll just need it depending on the item layout. If Cold Stare is holding a key like he does in this time, you won't be able to hit the switch to go back around and redo all of Ice Palace. I just want to point out a bug that Baker's taking advantage of here. So you can see, normally it requires a full bar of magic to open up Cold Stare's shell. But he was able to come out of there with some magic left over. This is because he had full health and he was using sword beams. So the game can't keep track of that many things. It was, written in assembly code in the 80s. So when the fire rod has a projectile out and it has a little bit of fire on the screen, and you use your sword beams, the sword beams and the fire rod shots both look up from the same memory address how much damage it should be doing. And the fire rod is going to take priority over that. And so the fire rod shot says, hey, I'm going to do this much damage, a lot of damage to Cold Stare, a lot of damage to that shell. And then the sword beam hits and it says, the game thinks it does the same as the fire rod. And the same damage type even. So what happens is that those sword beams count for double fire rod shots against the Cold Stare shell.
That's a bit of information I did not know. I'm glad you said that, so now I know. That's an interesting tidbit there.
And we finally get that Dark Death Mountain check on CursedAether side. Unfortunately, it is not the check that we want at this point. We need more mental energy here. We need to send Aether over to Palace of Darkness to finish off Helmasaur. I know it seems like a bad idea to triple dip a pendant dungeon, but gotta do it. And there's nothing else that he can even pick up at this point. We got butter, we got silvers, we got a decent amount of hearts. Yeah, his cape is kind of nice, but that's not gonna make up for it.
No, we know Cape only gets you the Ice Rod, and you can't go on the T-Rock without the cane, so it's not gonna do well for him.
And Baker entering the final crystal dungeon. So this is number 7 for him. And we do have those boots available to him in that first chest. I would be shocked if he checked it, but certainly an option. And he pulls out the hammer, indicating that he will not get it. So no boots for Baker. And so really the last kind of, game-changing thing that can happen here in this seed is that that torch on the big key in Gannis Tower being on that torch spot. That could really that'll really throw a wrench into this seed. So if anybody gets us through when we get to that point in the evening, you should consider how much you respect other people. Golden rule: do unto others. Do you want people wishing a big torch, big key in Gannis Tower for you? Is that what you want? Sending negative energy across the internet? That's not nice, man.
No, it's not. And looks like that's right. Aether did not check the bumper ledge, so he's gonna head up there and be disappointed and see that it's Ice Rod.
He's going to pull on that wall, knowing that Ice Rod is definitely not required this time around. And a little bit of a pause. Where else is there left to check? Takes a look at the map to figure it out. Knows he's got everything in Skull. Knows he can't get anything else in Misery Mire. Knows he can't even get into Turtle Rock or to the rest of Dark Death Mountain. Does have that one item in Palace of Darkness he can get. Turn in the mushroom, I don't think he did Batcave yet, so that's certainly an option.
That's true. I think that's the only other spot he has not checked.
No, he's got all the Smith sequence he hasn't done, I think.
Oh, that's right. Totally forgot about that.
And so did Aether, because he's taking a little think here. Could possibly going to the bathroom. Could be either one. 2 hours is a long time. You know, nature calls.
And there was another 8-bomb drop on Baker's side. This seed just wants them to have bombs.
Well, I mean, he doesn't need them at this point. So it's okay to skip them now.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just stating the fact that I don't think I've ever seen so many 8-bomb drops in the seed.
Oh god, you pulled out the mirror. Okay, so he knows. I thought he might have gone for silver arrows and pulled out the mirror by accident and was about to reset the dungeon. A little bit of a heart attack there. CursedAether, figuring out he needs to rescue that frog. That frog rescue, he's not going to give you anything you want, though. And so we have the final crystal held up in the air for who42baker, the Owl Man. How do we do the guessing game? Oh, you did it. Okay.
I got it. So
see, I always rely on my co-commentator to do that. I still haven't learned how to do that. Is exclamation marks start? Like, I can't handle that. Anybody guessing 3? Can we have any mods in chat? Can we just time out everybody in chat guessing 3? They're all mean people, and they need to sit in the corner for 2 minutes and think about their life decisions. Because 3 is just this isn't. See, we get some nice guesses in there. We get a 1. We get 7. That's acceptable. But all these 3s go like a 5. Like a 5 is nice. 4 is nice. 4 always wins.
Just ill on the runners here. But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, we play a game here. In Ganon's Tower, there's one of 22 chests that the big key can be into. Guess which one it is. If you've donated 250 bits to any of the Speed gaming channels or subscribe to any of the Speed gaming channels, you'll be put on a leaderboard if you do indeed win the game. The game stops once they enter into Ganon's Tower. But please, where would you like to see it there today, Walking Eye?
21.
I think it's almost as bad as 3. You want them to go almost to the end.
Yeah, I just don't want to do tile room. I want to see all of Ganon's Tower. I think that's important. It gives a lot of room for there being a time difference between left side, right side checks, either way. But our runners still don't have to sit through tile room. So I like to see the extra execution needed in Ganon's Tower, which is why I'm pulling for 21. It's not to be mean. It's to give the runners a better chance of showing off. I'm not wishing 3. Like, come on. I'm not gonna wish 3. So CursedAether, taking another look at that map after doing that Smith sequence, still doesn't have the book. Thankfully, that would have unlocked a couple of extra areas. So he's thinking, what's left? What's left? And it's just Helmasaur King. All right, how do you? Oh, you did it. You did the stop one too. Good call. Good call. So he's heading right first.
Oddly enough, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking of 20. To see the very similar, the full Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, that's what you want. All right, so he's just gonna go full right side. So all you 3 people, 3's okay now. You're lucky. I was gonna ban you. I was gonna time all of you out. So 3 is not gonna be tile room today. We're gonna go right into the compass room. I believe it's the compass room. Go to pod. Go to pod. There it is. All right, we're going to pod. We're making progress. All right. Yeah, but like we're not going to ban the 7s because the 7s like didn't know that this was going to be a thing. Like the vast majority of runners are going to do those first 2 chests on the right side just because they're so quick, and then after that go left side. That's going to be the fastest, most efficient way of doing things. This right side is a bit more of a gamble. Some runners prefer it, but we get nothing on the right side here. So we'll just pick up an extra small key here in this room and then mirror back to the start, it looks like. So that's 6 checked. 7 will be our torch item.
All right,
This is the big one.
moment of truth here.
I am fully clenched. But we're safe. It's a piece of heart.
All right, boots not required. Baker is on his way. We'll find the key here, and he'll make his way up. Meanwhile, Aether is finally making the right play. Gonna go finish off Helmasaur, get his cane, and finally be in go mode.
I mean, this is a rough seat to have a forced double dip of a pendant dungeon and require it to be beaten, even when pedestal is not possible. It's just it's an absolutely brutal seat to have to try to route. Both of our runners shown that they are certainly trying to be up to the task here, or they are up to the task here. Getting there eventually. CursedAether going to be in go mode very, very shortly. And Baker obviously taking that gamble much earlier and getting that red cane.
Absolutely. We're up to chest 12 here.
Baker pulling out boomerang strats. This is typically seen in no major glitches runs as the fastest fancy way of going through this. Boomerang, of course, not required in Randomizer for anything. More of a convenience item for an MG. But if it's in your inventory, you might as well put it to use. Still just small keys, not the right size.
All right, we're about to make the 14th or 17th in the random room here.
And just to catch up, people who are tuning in a little late, we had the first glove in Palace of Darkness, so Aga was required. That eventually led to the bow in Mireshed, and then the red cane ended up being on the right. The red cane ends up being at Helmasaur King.
And he's got it. It is chest number 17.
So 17, and it looks like Blue XY was our winner in chat here. Wow, you're getting yelled at. Get wrecked. So, CursedAether. That's all right. We'll forgive you. I don't think we get graded on this. Do we get graded? Is there like a report card that I'm going to get at the end of the night? I hope so. So Baker getting a little low on magic and hearts here, but we'll have a safety room to stop off. Oh, he's got plenty of potions. And Aether finally picks up his red can on the right side. Is in go mode at 152.04. So with that first red mimic room out of the way, we head to the second one. And Aether's going to have to really make up some time here. Just as one crystal to go in that Misery Mire, does have everything already collected inside of Misery Mire, so we'll be able to go just straight to the boss. And as we saw before, Vitreous does not do well against silver arrows, which are comfortably in CursedAether's quiver. Chooses to skip that free magic refill in the refill room there, south of the bridge. Gonna go right into the gauntlet. Easily clears that first room as we get kind of I think this is a 3-cycle on Aether's side for the beginning of Mire.
He actually can't get that because he doesn't have the boots.
Oh, you're right. That's a good point. So he's stuck with his potions. Down to 4.5 hearts with that blue mail. 3.5 hearts now. And just a little bit of magic. Got to see that blue potion coming into play here. Expertly kills that Stalfos with the silver arrow. Now using the powder here is going to change a little bit of how the spawning of those landmo work. But the one cycle certainly is still possible.
I believe there's a strat with the butter store that if you do a spin and in the middle of them, you can bounce off from each other and hit all two twice to knock them down in one cycle. But I haven't tried it myself, so I'm not 100% sure.
That sounds too fancy for me. Either way, Baker takes those down. Going to get a little bit of refill here. There's hearts and magic here. Not going to have enough to light those torches unless he gets a full magic refill from one of these enemies or uses that potion in his inventory. But going through here, knowing you get that safety of that potion, you got to feel good. No boots to dash through these guys. Pulls out the hook shot to try to get the stun. Now, you notice there that second guard, he did use the hook shot. It did hit him, but unfortunately, it didn't seem to do anything. It just seemed to kind of bounce right off. The reason is when that guard sees you, when that guard becomes startled, what happens? Jeez, what the hell? What happened outside? When the guard sees you, there's actually an invisible sprite that has collision, kind of in the same space as the actual guard itself. It bounces off that invisible sprite, and then you're allowed to actually stun it after that. Oh, hangs on just barely on that first torch, grabs the small magic refill as CursedAether holds up his 7th crystal. And it looks like Baker's going to have just enough magic to get this last fire rod shot off and a little bit more.
Enough time elapsed, didn't despawn the dungeon, which is always nice. Don't want that to happen.
Oh, that happened to me in a race the other day. It was awful. CursedAether letting out those 2 bees. I was really hoping to see some bee strats on Ganon at the very least, but we're going to take 2 blue potions with us up to the Ganon's tower. And we saw how important those can be. So I think Baker managed to save his blue potion all the way through here. Even catches a fairy for good luck. So he will be all locked and loaded to go for the big pig. Gotta get his revenge on Moldorm here as Aether almost gets dead rocked, but manages to squeeze just by. We got a question in chat. Who is in the lead? Baker. Who42baker on the left side of your internet is got about a 5-minute lead, maybe a little bit more. Skips that Moldorm 2 chest. We don't have time for that. We have everything we could possibly need.
Now this room is a pain without the boots, so it's got to make its way through. These mini Helmosaurs definitely can be a pain.
They're going to give him a little boost here, though, at the end and push him up towards the stairs. So he's going to take a little bit of damage, but that's the last real tricky part of this run as far as Ganon's Tower goes. So we are going to go and fight Aga. Very rude pattern to start off. Manages to get a single out of it. And nothing. That blue ball stopping him from getting anything here. So once again, this was a rematch of a race earlier this week between these 2 runners as Baker gets that 6th hit on Aga to take the, I don't know, what is he? He's like a wizard to take the wizard down. Oh, it turns out he was Ganon the whole time or something. They actually tied, so they finished within 3 seconds of each other, which by tournament rules is considered a tie. And so this is the rematch. The winner of this will advance to 2-2 and still be in the running for the advancement to that bracket stage. Meanwhile, the loser will unfortunately be sitting at 1-3, still able to finish out their tournament, but will no longer be eligible for those brackets. So our runners fighting in what they know are equally skilled runners in a very, very important race here.
First phase, second phase here.
And as Baker finishes the second phase, we'll give you a reminder to follow these runners. They've put on one heck of a show for us tonight. And we're already in the third phase. That butter sword not wasting time. Cuts through the big pig like a hot knife through margarine. So we're getting the same route on the right side as CursedAether goes up Ganon's tower. He's going to check the right side first. Probably feeling a little bit behind. Maybe thinks this is a little bit of a gamble. Unfortunately, not going to work out for him by any stretch. As we enter that fourth phase on the left side, and Baker gets that first all-important silver arrow into the pig. Doesn't get torch glitch, doesn't need it. He's got silvers. Instead, sets up for a double here, maybe even a triple. We get two, not going to even shoot that third arrow. But here's the fourth one. Oh, just barely. How did he get that? How did he get that hit? The big pig is down. Down goes Ganon. He explodes. Baker holds up the gold sword. And we are going to get maybe a sub 2 here. Which is very impressive for having a double dip, a pendant, forced double dip of a pendant dungeon. And we do indeed get a sub 2. Let's get GG's in chat, please, for who42baker.
GG, he gets official speed racing TV time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 51 seconds. GG to Baker.
Wow. Red Cane at Helmasaur King.
What a race, man. I'm so happy I was here for this.
So we'll see if Baker wants to come in for an interview to talk about his thoughts on the seed. Meanwhile, Aether is going to continue on. It looks like Baker will join us here shortly as we get chests. We get a little bit of hookshot problems here on the right side of your internet. And we welcome who42baker to the stream. So congratulations, GG, who42baker. Congratulations on this win. That was a heck of a gamble into fighting Helmasaur King. You can't hear me at all? That's disappointing. I can hear you just fine.
Maybe
I'm not doing that again. You can hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, well, I just had a very exciting intro for you, and I'm not going to repeat it because it's like it's 2 a.m.
You're going to make me rewatch it.
Yeah, I am. I am going to make you rewatch it. So anyway, going into fight Helmasaur King. It's a pendant dungeon. You've already been inside. You've already cleared it out. What made you want to go over and kill Helmasaur King for that last item rather than just ducking out after you collected the arrow upgrade in the big chest, or even just avoiding that dungeon entirely, knowing you had already been in there?
That was a mistake, actually. I was thinking, well, as I was going to kill Meyer, Viditrius, or whatever, where was I? I was somewhere else. I was in some other dungeon, but I was thinking, I just got the powder, wherever powder was. I was going to check Magic Bat. But I ended up fluting to 5 because I was thinking I was going to do Magic Bat, Eastern, Pod. So I fluted to 5, then I fluted to 5, that was a mess up. And then I started going to Pod, and I forgot to mirror because I wanted to do Eastern first because Armos had an item. And I thought, okay, that could be Kane, that could be Go mode. And then I won't have to go into Pod, and I won't have to finish it. But I ended up in Pod, and as I'm running down the locked side, I realized, darn, I was supposed to do Eastern first. That would have been the smart thing. Eastern was a crystal. But then I'm like, all right, fine, I'll just finish it out. There's 2 items. I can get them both. I got to Helmasaur, and he dropped the cane, and I'm like, oh my god, I made the right choice.
Well, congratulations on your mistake then. I mean, because that is absolutely fantastic, and was certainly the difference in this race down the stretch. May you make many more mistakes as you do advance out of this match with a record of 2-2, still alive for those bracket rounds. What's your goal for the tournament here? Do you have aspirations of, like, have you met your goal here being 2-2, or do you have more lofty ambitions? Have you exceeded them?
Yeah, this is my goal, 2 wins. My goal last tournament was 1 win in the what was it called, Key Sanity. That was 1 win. I got 1 win, and now here I wanted to figure I'll get 2 wins, and now I've got 2 wins, and I'm still as long as as CDV told me in my last interview, if I have a 4-win streak, I can make it to brackets. And so far, I'm 2 for that 4-win streak because our tie, I won by a second.
Well, that's not bad. I
it's-
mean, you just keep on going. Take it 1 week at a time, and
Yeah.
I think you're definitely in the running for more than just 2 wins here in this tournament. We got 3 weeks to go, man.
Yeah, this is this is ridiculous. I thought I had screwed up bad in the beginning, but I guess we must have both done pretty much the same thing if Pod was the decider.
Pod was certainly the decider. CursedAether did go in there for a second time, but elected not to kill Helmosaur King. You'll see this all on the replay.
Okay.
Definitely watch the replay. It was one heck of an exciting match. We were freaking out when you found that red cane. So at any point did you feel as though you were ahead when you picked up that red cane? Did you feel like you were behind, or what did you think?
My routing at the very beginning was, well, I thought it was bad because I kept mixing up, and because like I thought that I could save and quit to pyramid after digging game because I knew progression had to be in pod. It had to be. There was nothing else for any progression to be because we had to kill Aghanim just to get to the Dark World, and then there was only so much available to us. So I figured, okay, pod has to have something, but I'm gonna check the southwest loop, save and quit, get dropped at the pyramid, and then I'll be able to just walk right into pod. And then I saved and quit, and I saw a little menu that I could pick my house, and I was like, okay, I did not think this through. I forgot that in Randomizer, you need both the mirror and the moon pearl to drop back at the pyramid. So that messed me up.
Just the mirror and Aghanim defeated, not the moon pearl.
You don't need the respawn.
Okay.
Just the mirror.
Just
I mixed that up. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just finish my Light World checks with Zora and see if I actually had to kill Aghanim or if I could have sequence broke my way into Dark World access. But I found that wasn't the case. And
yeah, it did turn out that Aga was necessary, but that pod play vaulted you into the lead. And it was quite the race to watch. So thank you very much for putting on quite the show for everybody here.
Yeah, I'm glad. I really wish that last night's race could have been restreamed. That was crazy. That was insane. that race was something else, I swear.
So I'm going to remind chat, give who42baker a follow here. Put on one heck of a show for us today. A crazy mistake that everybody thought was a crazy gamble. You gotta sell it, man. You gotta say like, no, it was a gamble, and I made it, and it was great.
Yeah, so, totally plan to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Give this guy a follow. CursedAether just getting after Moldorm 2 right now. Picks up the Moldorm 2 chest, just an arrow capacity upgrade. Do you have any more questions, Azrael?
Well, you pretty much covered everything I was thinking of, but I do have to ask. You took that huge, I think it was you took the huge long trek to the back of Escape to get those last 3. What was going through your mind there?
I was so mad. I was going just through the first 6 minutes of the seed, just going through Escape, trying to kill as much as I could to get that bomb drop. And I started thinking, all right, this prize pack doesn't have bombs. There's nothing, I can't get it. So I get to the room right after where the 3 chests are, kill a rat, and I get a bomb. And I'm like, no, this can't happen. That means the bombs were in the prize pack the whole time, and I should have killed one more thing, because you can't go back once you're there, because you can't push the block to get past. And so that was weighing on me the whole time, because that could have been a glove. That could have been Dark World access, and Aga wouldn't have been required. So I just felt that was a better plan than to do Aga right then and there. So I figured I'll just run as quick as I can without boots, which I see that CursedAether's got.
Boots were in that first chest. Well, I guess it's the second chest in Swamp Palace. He had full cleared out both swamp and ice, looking for that red cane. After getting those flippers in mire.
Yeah. Okay.
So, were you nervous at all? We had a question in chat. Were you nervous at all going into Ganos Tower without those boots?
I was pretty nervous. I was scared that it was going to be on there and that he would have gotten boots, because I knew from last night that we were incredibly close, and so I was just scared that he was like on my heels or even just a few minutes ahead of me the whole time, because I just thought I played that my routing was pretty bad in the beginning. I just thought he's either like on my heels or he is already ahead of me, and if he is ahead of me, I have lost. And especially if he had the boots and Key was there, I knew I had lost already. Because when I got that cane, I go moded everything. I knew I wasn't gonna get it. I was just gonna gamble that it wasn't there, and that if it was there, I lost, and that I hoped it would be an excited race.
Well, it certainly was an exciting race, and again, congratulations to you. We're going to stick with CursedAether as he finishes up phase 3 here against Ganon. Just 2 slashes left to put him into phase 4. Lots of offense in this seed. Both of you guys had pretty early butter and silvers, so no worries about that. Starting out with that sword in the very first chest in Link's house.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I didn't know you can't actually swing your sword until your uncle gives you an item.
Yeah, that's correct.
Until
you go talk to Uncle, there is no none of that. So we get a double to start off our Ganon fight on the right side of your internet here, and one more hit should do it.
There we go.
Just a little bit over 10 minutes behind, we have CursedAether finishing up here in this exciting race. So getting that double and that torch glitch is no easy feat. So definitely good execution there at the end from CursedAether as he finishes with a time of 2:10. So let's get GG's in chat for CursedAether. We'll give you another reminder to follow these runners. They put on one heck of a show for us tonight as the seed apologizing to CursedAether. We're going to see if we can pull CursedAether in here for an interview. And CursedAether will join us shortly for an interview. We'll pull him up here. And we welcome CursedAether. CursedAether GG's. This is one heck of a seed. Do you have any initial thoughts?
That's probably twice now in this tournament I've lost to miscounting items in pod.
So it was so you miscounted. You didn't just choose to not spend the time killing Helmasaur King.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is absolutely brutal. I'm very glad you were able to go back and figure that out, though. You still finished with a respectable time of 2:10. So, I mean, considering that this was Aga required and a forced double dip of a pendant Palace of Darkness, it's absolutely incredible. The seed toyed with both of you right up until the very end. Now, were you feeling ahead or behind at any point in particular?
Well, during my Samaria search, I felt insanely behind. But before the item searching, like about Meyer area the first time being there, I felt probably about even, just due to watching our VOD yesterday. It was very close throughout the entire race, so I knew both of us were really close on skill level. And it came down to, I would say, literally just me missing out on Samaria there would have made a huge difference. It would have been a really close race if I didn't do that.
It certainly was. You were, as you'll see in the replay, you were a bit ahead throughout the seed up to that point, but then Baker ended up diving into kill Helmasaur King and got that red cane, was able to go mode both swamp and ice and get to the end faster.
I'd expect nothing less. That's if you don't miscount your items in pod and you're already in there for the second time, might as well just do it. But
definitely congratulations to both of you. That was one heck of a race. You certainly put on a heck of a show for everybody. So I'm sure you'll get emails in your inbox from followers from this as a result. Do you have any more questions over there, partner?
No, just basic. How do you guys feel about the tournament in general? And how do you feel about being 2-2 there, Baker? With Jared, you join me in the 1-3 category. Continue for our own pride. But how do you guys feel overall?
I'm sad. I'm knocked out, but I went out fighting, I can say, after tying yesterday. So, and going against someone as good as Baker is here, I'm not too hurt, and I'm sure Baker's gonna go decently far in this thing.
Yeah, this is an incredible 2 races to get just to keep going in this tournament. I don't know. I'm having fun in the tournament. That's why I joined, mostly to have fun.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's a great time.
Awesome. That's fantastic to hear. And if anybody is interested in running themselves, join us on Discord. We'll get you all set up. It's a very friendly community, as you can hear. Our opponents both in good nature after that seed put them through the ringer there. So it's listen. I'll be honest. It's 2:15 where I am. I gotta get some sleep. So I'm gonna sign us. I'm gonna sign us off here. For everybody at the Speed Gaming family here, give us a follow on Speed Gaming 1 through 6. For more tournament action, give us a follow over on A Link to the Past Randomizer channels 1 through 4 as well. For all of your tournament needs, give these runners a follow, definitely. You can also give the crew a follow, the tracker and the restreamer and myself and Azrael Speed here. Azrael, rather, Speed here. Yeah, and with that, I'm Walking Eye for Azrael Speed and the rest of the Speed Gaming family, and for our runners, good morning.
Yes, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a pleasure, this race. If you guys want to watch more, at 10 a.m. Today, actually, it is Saturday, on Eastern, on Speed Gaming 3 and Speed Gaming 5, there's going to be 2 more races. So if you want to watch, please turn into them. Otherwise, thank you very much. Follow these runners again, as they just said. They did an amazing job. It takes a lot to put themselves out there, especially race 2 days in a row from a tie. But enjoy yourselves. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.